Chapter 180. Yudir observed as the elderly mage who had been watching him turned his head slowly, looking up at someone in greater surprise than before. That someone was none other than Kishir Laor, the savage movement that had been pulsating wildly under the feet of the man who now stood atop the magic circle in place of the unconscious Alec had completely calmed. A white light flickered, shimmering brightly. That was a close one. Ignoring the gaze of Thais Yulman, Keshir opened his mouth toward Yudir. I don't know what it is, but perhaps that you have seized the power of the red stone. Is that right? Yudir only then realized that a red light was still streaming from his clenched right hand, and he slowly uncurled his fist. The light that had been following between his glove and sleeve faded away. The red energy, which had been frozen like ice, started to spin very slowly once again. It seems so. Have you controlled the energy, Commander? Yes. Fortunately, by managing things one at a time, they seem to have averted an explosion. Sighing in relief, he turned to Thais Yulman as the elderly mage struggled to open his mouth. His face was a wreck. Wasn't it that His Grace, the Duke of Paleta, only possessed the power of the Awakener? This energy, unless you are a mage, it's impossible to control alone. How could this? Moreover, that thing. He couldn't manage to finish his sentence and simply gazed at Yudir when referring to that thing. His expression revealed that he couldn't find the words to express his thoughts. Thais Yulman, Kishir called him calmly. There's a lot I could say about your neglect of your disciple's condition in your haste and ambition to expedite your research, but there's a more pressing matter at hand. I'm not bearing this easily either, so I would appreciate it if you could get up and finish things as quickly as possible. Or are you going to give up just like that? Thais Yulman's dirty beard quivered. He managed to push himself up, panting heavily. No, I'm not. With only Kishir controlling the energy, things have sped up incomparably to before. The fact that the red energy, once caught in Yudir's hand, had become astonishingly calm was also a factor. Yudir wiped the cold sweat trickling down his chin with his sleeve as he watched Thais Yulman, his face stricken with shock, quietly finishing the final steps. The indescribable sensation of gripping and moving that red energy in his hand was still valid. What on earth had that been? Finally, Thais Yulman had succeeded in sealing the power of the red stone in the last remaining black stone. Watching him, Kishir withdrew his foot from the magic circle and stepped back a few paces. The brilliantly controlled white light began to slowly fade, and the glow from the magic circle filling the space dimmed as well. His face was as tranquil as before, but his cheeks were pale, devoid of color. It wasn't until then that Yudir was certain that Kishir hadn't been holding up as easily as he'd claimed. All that was left after the light had faded was a silence that felt as deep as being underwater. Yudir, don't let down the barrier yet. Kishir began to issue orders, looking around. Nathan, move the unconscious one to the back and guard the basket with the catalyst in it. And Kana, yes? Without being told, it was now your turn. Kana stepped with a resolute expression on her face. Yudir looked down at the red stone, quietly placing it in front of him. The stone now seemed devoid of any power, but he couldn't be certain. Captain, please wait a moment. May I touch it before Kana does? Instead of direct contact, I'll try it lightly with my power. If the answer had been negative, he would have tried to touch it with his hand first, but fortunately, Kishir only frowned briefly and nodded. Go ahead. Either in front of everyone, pumped more power into his protective barrier and summoned a gentle breeze, which he sent toward the red stone. Kana flinched, perhaps the memory of the red stone emitting a powerful force the moment an awakener's power touched it was still vivid in her mind. However, the red stone now seemed like an ordinary rock, quietly accepting the breeze. It was the same when water was dropped on it. Either slowly counted to 10 internally, and after confirming there was really no change, he finally relaxed his shoulders. I have confirmed it. It seems that the power and the stone are completely separated. Oh. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, Kana exhaled. Then it's my turn. Can you withdraw this wall in front of me? Either withdrew the wall, the water, and left the wind. Kana, feeling the wind tickling her forehead, let out a faint sigh of relief and took a deep breath in front of the palm-sized stone. Either watched as she slowly touched the stone with her fingertips, which was glowing like a mirage. The moment her skin made full contact with the stone, Kana, who had been closing her eyes, shuddered violently as if struck by lightning. Kana? Kana warned. Kishir cautiously called her name, but there was no reply. After a moment, Kana's body stiffened like a log and fell backwards. Kana! Either managed to prevent her head from hitting the ground using the wind, but Kana, who had fainted, didn't regain consciousness. What the hell is this? Either hastily removed all the protective barriers and rushed to Kana, checking her condition. Thankfully, she was breathing normally. Following him swiftly, Kishir knelt on one knee and twisted the red stone out of Kana's hand. The movement was so natural that Either failed to stop him. Commander, it's okay. Despite Either's late exclamation, unlike Kana, Kishir didn't faint. He casually rolled the stone in his hand and a chilling question crossing his face. I don't feel anything. It would be better to think that the reason she fainted has something to do with the use of her power. First, move the two who fainted to the medical division, and the rest should go and checked out as well. Leave the basket with the medium in my office. We will look at it again tomorrow. Either with a wary expression, glanced at Thais Ullman, sprawled on the floor, and nodded. Understood. I'll help. No need. However, Kishir's response was absolutely firm. We can't have the person who needs to go to the medical division first doing such a task. Can I check your condition before you go? Excuse me? Before he could respond, Kishir had come closer, unbuttoning Either's uniform jacket and swiftly pushing aside the shirt underneath to expose his shoulder. Either was inwardly surprised that he hadn't noticed any opportunity for such an intrusion. Even as he was watching, an unfamiliar expression briefly passed over Kishir's face. Fortunately, it doesn't seem as severe as I had anticipated. The exposed shoulder was maintaining its clean original skin color. Either realized that Kishir was recalling and checking for the spot enlargement that had appeared up to his shoulder during his previous visit to the east. Did you really need to check this immediately? After witnessing that spectacle earlier, how could I not? As Kishir responded curtly and paused, he took a long breath, closing and then reopening his eyes. Any pain? None. Answer accurately. I truly feel nothing. Ever since he thought he might touch the power of the red stone, there had been no pain, not even during the continual usage of his power. It was still the same. Even as he continued to provide protective barriers for several people, it felt as smooth as before the spot appeared, or perhaps even smoother. What really had happened? Either recalling a sensation that had yet to fully comprehend, looked at Kishir. Kishir too was looking down at his face. We can discuss how you were able to suppress the power of the red stone later. It seemed he was thinking along the same lines as Either. For now, go to the medical division. Request treatment from Priest Luzon immediately. Understood. Nathan, take them to the medical division. I'll take care of things here, so move right away. Understood. The loyal adjutant did not question Kishir's order this time either. With the help of Nathan Zuckerman, who was carrying 2 unconscious people on his arms, either supporting a pale and speechless Thais Yulman, left the basement. As they left, Kishir's impassive face disappeared behind the door. What on earth is this? After examining the faces of the newcomers, Enon couldn't hide his shock. A building shaking all of a sudden, and a horde of patients, some of whom I have never seen before, and others who left this place are coming in. What on earth did you do? Yudhir, letting Enon whispering question in his ear slide, turned his gaze towards Kana lying on the adjacent bed. Looking at her, still pale, seemingly asleep, face made his heart heavy. Are you listening? What exactly did you do? The red stone. Enon bit his lip at Yudhir's low answer. It's because of that.